They turned down a lane switched with laundry lines. Shirts and shawls billowed overhead. Shadow cloth mixed with ordinary cotton. For a moment, Liora allowed the fabric to make a sky. Her shoulders lowered, her chest loosened. She unclenched her fist and let her hands hang, empty and visible. The coin warmed. She did nothing. It warmed harder, wanting her attention. She put her hands behind her back and breathed in counts. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out. The heat peaked, then flattened, then thinned. When she finally touched it, it lay merely warm, not hungry. "Good," Faye said, as if they had rehearsed it. "Teach me to do more than not want," Liora said. "I will," Faye said, "when you've stopped wanting to be taught quickly." They crossed a square full of common things done strangely. A shoemaker stitched soles with thread that sang. A woman sewed lengths of rope that forgot knots 10 heartbeats after tying. A boy chalked a hopscotch grid in the corner. Children hopped down it and came up with tears on their faces, laughing. A shadow turned at the edge of the square. Not dramatic, not cruel, simply precise. It slid away from the feet that should have cast it and tasted the stones as if cataloging them. "Don't stop," Elias murmured without moving his mouth. They didn't. The shadow extended, very thin, towards Elias's boot. It paused a finger's width away, as if remembering the shape of him. Then it lifted, no longer a shadow because shadows do not lift, and wrote a short line on the cobble in clean black ink. Liora read it without wanting to. Soon. She almost reached for the coin. Almost. She then laced her fingers behind her back until the urge passed. The word remained. The market did not need to speak in voices when ink would do. They put distance between themselves and the square. The market arranged the path helpfully, which made Liora distrust its help. A bell chimed, not for forgetting, not for bargains. A house somewhere shook out its shutters. A smell like chalk rain drifted from a side street. "What is chalk rain?" Liora asked. "Where tallies get washed after they've been made," Faye said, "so they can be made again. Can we—" Liora stopped before she said undo. The market did not love that word. "Can we move one? Even a little?" "Not yet," Faye said. "But you learn to cool the coin. That is step 1. What's step 2? "Refusing clean bait," Elias said. He sounded calm again. A stiffness had left his shoulders. Liora hadn't known she was watching. She wanted to apologize for pushing. She wanted to press him for more. Both wants rose. She breathed until they thinned to thoughts. The lane they chose back towards reconciliations wasn't the same lane they'd taken away from it. It still led them there. Market streets are excellent at remembering destinations and terrible at remembering paths. The clerk looked up as they entered. She had boxed their page and shelved it already. "You made it back," she said, neither surprised nor pleased. "Good." "We have a question," Faye said. The clerk raised an eyebrow. "Of course you do." "If a collateral is named as silence," Faye said, "and the debtors refuses to speak, what does the market take?" "Breath," the woman said promptly. "Not the act, the ease of it." Liora felt that answer like a hand pressed lightly to her sternum. "That's cruel." "It's tidy," the woman said. "Cruelty is a matter of taste. Tidy is a matter of accounting." She slid them a blank card and a piece of charcoal. If you insist on playing, write something you are willing to owe and something you are not willing to owe. The market will look. Sometimes it chooses courtesy in the face of clarity. Elias didn't reach. Liora did. She wrote, "Oh, patience, not oh, Elias." The woman read the card, then the space around it, as if the absence of ink said as much as the marks. "You'll still pay," she said, but less messily. They left with nothing but the feeling of having set a nail in the right place in a house that would continue to flex in storms. On the way out, ash lifted from Leora's boot and spun in the air like a thought trying a new shape. It settled in a small straight line on the threshold. The clerk didn't brush away. Outside, the market's disguise slipped for a heartbeat. The neat lamps went a touch too tall. The bread sighed as if bored of pretending warmth. A kettle shivered and sang a scale no human ear would call music. "Home," Faye said. "Not a door, a direction." They walked. The market let them. Halfway to where home might decide to be, the fox-ear child fell into step beside Liora, as if he had been walking there all along. "You brought your shine to a bookkeeper," he said, approving. "Good trick?" "It wasn't a trick," Liora said. "Not yet," he said. He hopped the crack between the two stones and landed as if he'd just learned to trust gravity. When you learn the long way to want a little, the market can't hurry you so easily. Also, the man with the gray cloak stood at the end of the street and watched you breathe on a paper. Leora's foot faltered. "And?" "And he didn't smile," the boy said, delighted. "I like when he doesn't smile. Means the story got heavier in a place he didn't expect." He darted away before she could catch his sleeve, dissolving into the current of people as if he were water wearing a buoy. They reached the place where an arch sometimes decided to be an arch. Tonight it was a drape of faded sailcloth. Faye touched the edge of it, and the cloth moved like a curtain on a stage that has learned its cue. Beyond lay not home, but less market. Liora looked back once. The lamps watched without blinking. The word written on the stone behind them, "Soon," had been scuffed by a wheel, but the black had sunk into the grain of the rock. Some things cannot be scrubbed out. They must be outlived. She did not touch the coin. She did not ask the market for anything. She stepped forward and let the disguise fall behind her. The ash stayed on her boots.